There seems to be a mountain of evidence against Buena Vista Township police officer Kenneth Blue, suspected of murdering the mother of his unborn son, Jenny Webb, and staging it like a suicide, all while on duty.
He was a cop. What kind of sick person even dreams about something like that? It's mind-boggling.
But there was one more piece of evidence that could seal Blue's fate. Evidence found on the alleged suicide note.
On the back of this suicide note, I found and located 14 latent fingerprints.
And Ginther's testing showed not one single print matched Jenny Webb. All 14 matched Officer Ken Blue. But it was the condition of Blue's prints on the note that changed how the case would go forward.
There was no damage to the fingerprint ridges, so it's telling me that that particular note was handled by Kenneth Blue prior to his right index finger being damaged.
Which investigators believe shows premeditation.
So the fact that you found one of his perfect fingerprints on this folded note proves or suggests that he had been carrying this note.
Absolutely.
And the only way he could have put that perfect fingerprint on the outside of the suicide letter would have been if he did it before he killed her and she bit him.
That is absolutely correct, yes.
Okay, and the whole case turned there.
Officer Ken Blue was arrested and charged with 4 counts, including first-degree murder and assault on a pregnant individual, intentionally causing miscarriage or stillbirth.
We would have charged him with another first-degree murder of the baby, except in the state of Michigan, you can't have first-degree murder of an unborn child, although this little baby was 8.5 months along.
But there was one person who said Kenneth Blue should never have been arrested in the first place. Blue's sister, Debbie Dennis.
I know my brother and I know he didn't do it.
Debbie says she believes Jenny Webb took her own life.
The only explanation is she killed herself. And that's hard. I don't know, maybe it was just an accident. I hate to say that she would have tied a cord around her own neck just to scare him. Some women can be dramatic. I think all of the answers probably died with her.
For Debbie, a lot of the case doesn't make sense.
Where is the DNA? Where is the evidence that proves that he picked her up and he moved her around and put her in a car? There's no drag marks on her anywhere where he could have drug her. There's no scrapes where he pushed her out of a door. He didn't even have so much. She had long hair, long curly hair. There was not a hair strand on. They had 2 of his uniforms and there was none of her DNA, none of her hair, no makeup. There was nothing.
Debbie believes her brother may have been set up and some of the evidence may have been planted.
As for all the blood that they found on her body or in her car, I'm not 100% certain. My theory would be that somebody put the blood there, or because they definitely had access to his blood and his fingerprints. Yeah, I do.
Can you share those with us?
I'm not going to. I can't.
None of Debbie Dennis's claims of police misconduct have ever been substantiated. A little over a year after Jenny was killed, Kenneth Blue went on trial.
What was it like when you walked into the courtroom and you saw him?
Whew. I was shaking to be face to face with someone that could do that. It was tough.
He killed Jenny Webb and made it look like something it wasn't. And that person, ladies and gentlemen, is that man right there, Kenneth Blue.
In over 3 weeks of testimony, the prosecution called 31 witnesses. The defense called only 1.
What was his defense in court?
He didn't really present a specific defense. Just his attorney tried to poke holes in the prosecution's evidence. But the evidence was just overwhelming. It couldn't be done.
Kenneth Blue never took the stand.
So many details don't quite fit. But please, I'm telling you, have the sympathy. Let your emotions find this man guilty of what he didn't do.
The jury deliberated just 2 hours before rendering their verdict. Guilty on all counts.
I've never in my 30-year career seen a case like this one.
At the sentencing, Jenny's mother, Dawn Webb, talked directly to Blue.
An evil monster is the only words that I can think of for you. So go to your cage and think about how you squeezed the life and breath out of my daughter and grandson. And I hope it haunts you every day for the rest of your life.
Ken Blue is sentenced to life in prison, no chance of parole.
How do you heal from something like this? You can't, you know. You can't lose a child like that and expect to ever get over it.
In an exclusive statement to Crime Watch Daily, Kenneth Blue says in part, "After consulting with my legal counsel, I do not feel that it is appropriate to discuss the multitude of vague, inaccurate, and hypothetical statements from an alleged expert and witnesses with personal agendas or the total disregard for proper investigative practices and evidence collection procedures outside of judicial proceedings."
Do you really think that he believed he could get away with this?
Yes, I believe that he in his own mind thought he was smart enough and would be able to get away with it.
But he failed terribly, and he was sloppy.
I think the sloppiness came from things he couldn't control. Jenny Webb's attack on him, the fact that he's bleeding. I mean, who stages a crime scene while bleeding all over it?
Ken Blue did himself in.
Ken Blue did himself in with a lot of help from Jenny Webb.
She was our best witness.
This really impacted you.
Well, you have a, what? A little baby boy. You know, I mean, I was at his autopsy. I truly believe God made her do what she did, bit his finger and left all that evidence. I really, truly believe that.
For Dawn, she knows Jenny fought hard and ultimately helped solve the case, along with the heart and dedication of some exceptional people.
A bad cop killed your daughter, but the good cops
Got him in prison. That's right.